Hello, my beautiful friend, and a very warm welcome back to the podcast, the Hayley Osborne Show, my beautiful podcast, where I am here to educate you, inspire you, a little bit of entertainment along the way, and some real talk because let's be honest, that's what we love. I'm Hayley. I am your host. If you are tuning in for the very first time, welcome to my space of your, hearing platform. I'm glad that you are here. So I hope everyone's well. It's a little bit fresh right now. So hence if you are watching on YouTube, I've got a black blazer on today, with lots of layers underneath a nice, like, thick cardigan, which, is needed because it's so cold. I got up really early this morning and trained along with the sauna, and it was 2 degrees in my car. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't do well with the cold. I am a lover of warm weather. Anyway, we digress. So today I wanted to come with you to talk to you a little bit about some of the ideas that I've been having lately, and I've put together 7 of my ideas to help you level up. Okay, level up your health brand, level up your business, level up you as a founder. Okay, and this is also piggybacking off of a social media post that I did that went really well, and I wanted to expand on it because I think that social media is great for those beautiful bite-sized pieces of content, but then when you want something a little bit more longer form, the beauty of owning my podcast is that I can talk more about it. And you get to learn a little bit more from me here, which I love imparting my knowledge, and I love, collectively when we all grow, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of mentality. And I've always had that. And I think that knowledge is power. And I also think that sharing is caring. And so collectively as a community, everybody grows, right? So you get to grow your health brand, which then inadvertently helps more people to live healthier lives, and our community is better off for that. And that's my why. Okay, you got more than you bargained for this morning. Today. It's morning when I'm recording this. All right, so I've got 7 ideas I want to talk to you about to level up your health brand. I don't really know how long this episode's going to go for, so by the time in your ears, I'm not sure. Here we are. Could be longer than I anticipated. However, the first one is a little bit cheeky. So, the first idea to level up, no matter what kind of event this is to, and if you've seen my social media and if you've been listening for a while, you will know that I have printed out a QR code and popped that on my back a few times when attending particular events. Okay, so not all events, but just ones that I think this will fit well and work. Obviously, when you are at an event, you are essentially among a cold audience, okay? Most of the people that are there, they don't know you, and so they are cold. And so the QR code was just to go, hey, if you are curious about who I am, scan the code on my back and follow me on my Instagram. And that's all it was. And it was definitely a conversation starter. It was definitely a bold move, and it was just a way to, I guess, have deeper conversations with people that I may not have even spoken to. But the icebreaker was, that is a really cool thing that you've done on your back. And again, in one instance, I had my, signature yellow suit on, and that really gets people's attention as well. And so they are conversation starters. And honestly, so I've done it twice, and the second time it just was better because I was in the same room for the whole day. Whereas the first time I did it, it was an event that lasted for a couple of hours. It was 1,000 people, and then I left. So this was a whole day event, and the conversations that I had with, a handful of people in the room, it was very well received, this QR code. However, there was a handful of people, and honestly, like, they have become very close internet buddies now, and we don't live in the same state. However, when we do, it is mandatory coffee catch-ups. So this has expanded beyond what I ever thought would happen. And I hoped that's, by having and creating a bit of a bold move that it would create a bold outcome. I had hope, but you just really never know what's around the corner. And it did indeed do that. So, I think that whether you think you're copying me or not, you're not, because I'll tell you now, there is no unique message. Okay, there is only unique messengers, and not everyone's going to vibe with you, as they don't me. However, if you did, then you know who you are, and here we are. So that's number one. The next event you do, stick a QR code on your back. Yes, you've got to go and choose a stock, print it out, create the QR code, cut it out beautifully, and then pin it to whatever you're wearing and make sure that it doesn't blend in with whatever you're wearing. So that's the first one. The second thing that I think that you should do to be able to level up your health brand is rewrite your transformation message. I feel like we don't do this enough. So I'm talking about who you help, the problem that you solve, and the transformation that you provide. And I think check in with, does it still stand? Okay. And when people understand what you do in one sentence, they remember you and they find it easier to work with you. But if you can't articulate what you do in one sentence very easily, how is anyone else supposed to know? All right. So revisit that. Okay. Continually rewrite it. It's a really positive way to get your head back in the business and see if what you are preaching and what you are saying in conversations daily actually matches up with what your footprint is online. Okay, because often we continue to rise like this, and then what our footprint and our story says online, it is not the same. Okay, so rewrite that. That's my number two idea for you to be able to level up. Okay, meet your brand where you're at, because I find that a lot of people come to me when we work together and they have grown exponentially, personally, academically, their knowledge is built, all the things, and they are rising and they are on the rise. However, their business and their brand and their personal brand, how it is showing up, has stayed the same. And I usually have the task of meeting them where they're at. Okay, meeting this brand where they are now at. And that's really fun for me. And I see this a lot. So to start with, rewrite that transformation message and see where it lands. And I guarantee you that you've evolved and that hasn't. So bring it up to where you're at. Number three is pin these three posts to the top of your Instagram feed and at least one of the three to the top of your Facebook feed. And then you can also add them as a feature to the top of your LinkedIn. So they are one, about you, two, how to work with you, and three, add your most viral post to the top. Okay, they're the three things that you need to be adding to the very top of your world so people know who you are and how they can work with you. Right? If you don't, there's so many times I see accounts not sharing how you can work with them. Like, I want to give you my money, but you're not telling me how. So think about it as logically as that. How can I work with you? Tell me how, and tell me about you as well, because I want to know about you before I work with you. I really like you, but I want to know what's the backstory. And when you're writing, this is just another tip that's not in my 6 points, but when you're writing your about section, and this is another thing I found that is such a barrier to people writing well. One is obviously AI. Don't do that. Don't sound like everybody else. But two, your about section, no one gives a shit about you. No one cares that you have a marketing degree from 2009. Nobody cares. What people do care about is how you can help them get to where they want to go. So your about section and your about post and your about caption and your about whatever needs to be how you can help that person. And your experience can help the person that is your ideal client. So it needs to be written about them, not about you, but about you, but not about you. It sounds complicated and it is the hardest thing you can do for yourself. It is very hard to write. Okay, so pin those three things to the very top of where you exist. So that way you make it really easy for people to give you their money. That's essentially all it is, people want to work with you, but you're not making it easy for them to figure out how. Let's change that. I want you to change that. The fourth one is simplify your about sections across your social media. So, who are you? What's your name? Who do you help? What should your audience do next with the information that you've given them? Okay, so honestly, last week I went to a networking event and I've been talking to people online and it's just banter. And then I'm like, hang on a minute. If this person is at that event, I've forgotten their name. I know who they are, and we have fun banter online, and they don't have their name in their Instagram. I just know them as XYZ, not their first name. And so then I've gone into this one particular account to find their name, and I shit you not, I could not find their name. And I was like, after about 5 minutes, I'm like, fuck this. Sorry to swear, but I was like, I'm not doing a deep dive here. That's your problem, not mine. And when I see them, I was going to tell them that I've forgotten their name. And I actually stalked their Instagram to find their name, and I couldn't do that. And I even went on their website and I couldn't do that. And that was like red flag for me. And they're going to learn something from me when I see them at this event. Turns out they weren't at the event, so they never learned something from me, and I'll never know their name. There is a way I can find out, but I just didn't have time. And I was like, it shouldn't be that hard. And this was, I think, the instigator of me wanting to come on here and talk about this today in this particular podcast episode. It's like simplify your about sections across your social media. If it means putting it in your bio, do that. Okay, so people know your name. All right, you're not just XYZ, because people usually say you should work with Hayley. Okay, and that's just how it goes. I used to have a branded name, but I don't anymore. But that's what it is. They say you should work with Hayley. So if you don't have your name splattered everywhere, or even like when you do a caption, sign it off. XX Hayley. That's what I do. So that's like, okay, her name's Hayley. She's really easy to find. It's just a lovely, lovely touch that I think most people just assume that you know who they are, whereas they don't. If you're a new person coming into somebody's world, how am I supposed to find your name if it's very, very hard? So that's a really big deal. The next one is point number 5 is update the link in your bio, update the link in your about section, update the link in your LinkedIn to what you want right now. Okay, so for me, it is helping you through VIP days. So they are my elite intensive VIP days, and that is what is in my bio. That's really important to me. And I want to sing it from the rooftops. So I want you to know that. And I have put that there for a reason. Okay, and it's working. So I want you to do the same. So what do you want right now from your audience? What do you want them to do with the next thing for them in your world? And that's where you pop the link. Okay. The next point is post something that you believe in. Okay. So I believe this to be true. I believe that if you do X, Y, Z, you will get X, Y, and Z as a result. I believe. So post something that you believe. And the last point that I want to point out that is, so obvious to me, but, it's staring you in the face and like a slap in the face with a fish. Make sure your profile photo is the same across everything that you touch. Okay, so your Instagram, this is just so obvious to me that most people don't do this. Your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, your personal Facebook, your Zoom account, your Teams account, your what else is there? Loom, Acuity, what else? Your picture on your Canva, all the same, okay? Because every touch point reaches people. And that is an association of, yes, that's the same girl following me around the internet. That is the same girl. That is Hayley. She has a red suit on with a pink background. She has curly hair. Okay. Make sure your profile photo is the same across all your platforms, everything, even the ones that aren't as standoutish. Pinterest, okay? Make sure it is front on, it is approachable, it is friendly, your eyes are looking at them. All right, and now you have it. That is 7 ways to up level your health brand. and up level your business. And I believe that once you get these right, these are part of the foundations. Okay, you're then ready to move on to the next step. And that's all I wanted to talk about today. I hope this has helped you. I know that they have been really valuable, tangible things that you can go and activate on. And if you are thinking, well, what are these seven? Have a look at the show notes. They are all listed in there, and there will be a blog as well that you can find that will list that in there too. That is it from me, guys. Have the best day and the best week. And I hope that you have got your Tuesday, because it's Tuesday when this comes out, Tuesday off to the best start. Thanks, guys. Bye.